Welcome to the Game Production Studios, UAT Game Studios. We want to welcome you to the Game Job Fair, where we are recruiting for our teams this week. My name is Lynn Understiller.
And I'm Ben Reichert.
And we are going to turn this over very quickly to the team leads, where they'll be presenting their projects and asking for a certain type of talent. So please listen up and go ahead and pick the teams that you would like to work on. Today is the day to get connected. Thank you for joining us. All right.
Thanks. See you guys. So.
Okay.
Can we record and stream?
Yeah.
Through all of that? Okay.
And I've explained to the leads already about making sure that they get these matched. Yeah, I'll scroll for you if you want to take center stage.
Okay. So, do we want to record?
I think we are recording. Over here.
Oh yeah, cool, awesome. All right, folks, morning. Morning. So welcome to this summer term here at UAT, right? Rockin'. This is actually one of the largest summer groups I've had for the studio class. So yeah, exactly. Normally students like to leave in the summer, but I think you guys have realized that if you stay in the summer and you work, then you can get out of here faster. So kudos to everybody. Anyways, we also have some really awesome projects this term. I know Lynn and I are really excited. George is a bit excited. That's why he's here, actually. So let's give a round of applause for George being here this early. So who's new? Who's a 281? Never been in the course before? Okay. All right, cool. So everybody who has been here before, you know, hopefully you looked at some of their faces and then kind of helped them out. We do obviously work in a very mentorship kind of style of a class for this class that we do here, because we're a bit different than other classes. We start every Friday around 10:30 now, and then go to about 5:20, and that's kind of the brunt of the work time. There will be time outside of that you will be working as well, as all of you will need to put in about 10 hours of work a week for this class. We'll have online students that will also be joining us. Those online students will be putting about 30 hours a week in, so that's a lot more than you guys will have to. So we really encourage that you work with the online students, and we'll work a lot with the leads of each of your projects to kind of make sure that you've got interface and communication with them. So communication is the number one word here. In case, I'm sure everybody who's already gone through the program has understood that as you're building projects, when you're online or even in front of each other, communicating what you're doing, where you're at, what your goals are is the number one way to stay on track and complete all these big ambitious ideas that we have. So what we really want to do, and this is important, so first of all, this is Canvas. If you haven't been in Canvas yet, I think you all have, right? The way we do this class is a bit different as well. We have a UAT Game Studios section in Canvas. That's kind of a group section, and you'll join that, and you'll have a lot of the discussions and some submitting the things that kind of go across our courses. So Lynn teaches 281, I teach 381 and 481. The differences between them will basically be, I also have books that are involved in 381 and 481, so you will have discussions every week. So you'll be reading the books. The first one for 381 will be about Scrum and Agile and applying it to game development. And the 481 you'll be reading about independent game development. It's a handbook, so it's everything from engines to platforms to marketing to fundraising. And you'll be basically doing weekly discussions on that. But this section will be about where you share kind of where you're at. So sprint logs, burn down charts, all of these fancy terms that we use for Scrum and Agile. And we'll be using a software called Axosoft, and I've got Laura here, who in a minute I'll introduce a bit more, and we'll talk about that. The way we kind of worked with that in the past is we work more closely with the leads regularly. So every Friday we have a leads meeting at 1 o'clock, and we'll have that today too. And we kind of do it as a trickle down, where we introduce the leads a bit more into the process, into the software, and then they work with their teams to figure out how you get onto that and then you build out. And we'll go on next week a bit more, because I don't want to go into too much depth about the methodology of that today, because we really want to get to the pitches so that you guys can see the games that are going to be worked on this term, and so that you can figure out which games you want to join and be part of. Again, we've got an awesome number of people here, which means two things. One, we'll have a good number of people per team on each team, which is excellent. But also means that we need to make sure that the way that that's kind of broken up is proper. So we can't have a team of all artists, right? They're never going to get their mechanics in there. And we can't have a team of all programmers. It's kind of going to look like a bunch of cubes and spheres and stuff like that. So that'll be a big part of today. And Lynn, you have this done. So this, I mean, we've already talked to the leads, but basically you'll be making sure that each person chooses a team. They get on that team. So by the end of the day, we're going to be asking the leads to pass us this, which says who's on their team, and do you have their emails and so on. Are they already in Axosoft, and are they on Slack or some other kind of a communications channel? We used to primarily just use Slack in the past. Now we're a bit open to that, and there are some awesome opportunities to use Canvas as well. I don't know if you want to show that the group thing real quick, but I know some teams use Facebook, whatever you feel like is the best communication tool for you, because again, I don't want to limit you to certain software. I want to make sure that you're just communicating. That's the ultimate goal there.
So here we are. We're in the people category down here on the left-hand side. When you get there, by default, everyone is up. But you're going to go to project groups, where you'll find your groups. And as soon as you get signed up and connected today, we're going to add you to these various groups. Right over here, if you click on the down arrow, you'll see Visit Group Homepage. So for call center, they're new, so they're just getting started. You've got your own, what looks like your own shell, so please use that.
Can you click on people? We'll show you everybody who's in it then. All right, so far those are the two that are in that team, and as you should go to pages. Okay, go to pages.
All right,
Yeah,
go to pages.
Wow us.
Check it out.
Cool. So there's already some stuff in there. So again, this is a great interface. It'll allow you to keep it all in one place, rather than using Slack or Facebook. But then again, if you really like to communicate, if all of your folks are just basically on Discord or Slack or Facebook all the time, maybe you want to use that.
Make sure that information is in here, though.
Correct. Yeah.
And you want to talk about subcontractors?
Why don't you talk about subcontractors?
If you're here, subcontractors, George, come on up, and we're going to talk to your subcontractors.
I'm not a subcontractor.
I've got subcontractors here too, but don't leave after you get signed up. You are very important to these teams. We want to make sure that you're connected well too. Right now, you don't have access to the UAT Game Studios Canvas, but we are working on that. Even better, you're going to need Axosoft and your team communication tool, whether that be Slack or other, today, and you're going to get your tasks today. So don't leave without those things. That's what today is all about. So do you have team?
Yeah, I've got a couple of contractors here, and for anybody that is going to be a subcontractor this term, don't think of it as a chore that you got to come over here and do certain things every week. Think of it as a way to learn and experience before you guys get to the UAT Game Studios, especially for those that are very new, second, third term students. Also, some of these projects are SIP approved, so you can get a head start on your SIP as well. So it'd be awesome to get your SIP out of the way, third, fourth semester in, and then use the rest of your time here at UAT to not only work on additional games, but also build your portfolio. So that is key.
Right.
Cool.
And, thanks, George. And on that point, I mean, if you're not doing it for SIP, obviously always think of this as an opportunity to put something in your portfolio. And we stressed this a lot last term too, that even if it's not a complete game, that's okay. You can still use your own work that you've put into that game as part of your portfolio. So always be striving to do the best and the highest grade work you can do, because this again is an opportunity to be working with a team, to be working on a game project with a goal in mind, and everything else behind that, so that you can walk away with some great artifacts to have in your portfolio to show off.
Right, and another thing to note for subcontractors is make sure that you don't overdo it. If you're asked to do more tasks than you are required to do in class, let them know, remind the leads that you are a subcontractor. You're only here for that one reason, and that is to contribute what you're creating in class to the project.
you go back to that page with everything on it? Thanks, George.
People,
No, the one that you had up. Group. The group one.
the group one. This
No,
guy?
what we're doing.
Oh, okay. The agenda for today?
Yeah, exactly. Make sure
There
I
you go.
didn't skip anything.
Okay.
Okay, so again, each team, you know, as you'll see in the pitches, is pretty well prepared already, and that's something again that we're super proud of. That the students here at UAT keep upping it every term after each other, and that so you'll have things like a design doc and a summary of what the game will be. You'll have maybe even a tech doc. You might have some assets already built in. So, like I said, 3 of the 5 games are returning. 2 of them are new, but even those 2 already have good amount of work done for prototype. So we're really set up in a great place to just keep moving forward on these projects. You're of course going to need all these kind of disciplines in these games. These are multidisciplinary projects. So when the leads come up and present, they'll be talking about how many designers or programmers or artists and yada yada that they're going to need. And this again goes back to you as an individual. If you have goals and aspirations on certain aspects of game development, try to line yourself up with the project and the team that sounds most interesting to you and that you feel that you'll be able to pull the most, like I said, artifacts for your portfolio out of that. Things like this one's put to here, like audio, don't forget, storyboarding, videographers. These are all really important, and we do also emphasize, as you'll find out as we go along, the marketing side of all of this. So game viability in the marketplace is really big. The more we understand that these games are interesting for people, the better it's going to spread right beyond UAT. And so we encourage all the teams to have social media accounts and to push. And again, that's where I got another guest today, Joel from Influence Logic, who I'm going to introduce in a little bit too, has an awesome opportunity today for you guys. So we really try to do it from A to B, and just really from starting to getting it out there and getting it launched. And anybody here already have a game on Steam? One. Okay, so we have, good job. I mean, that's not uncommon now. So we're getting more and more students who are getting their games out on Steam or on some platform, whether it's mobile or, I should ask, anybody have a game on mobile? Yeah, there you go, see. So, and again, we've been trying to diversify what we do in this class. Some mobile games came through, PC games, and now we do have a VR game, so we're really excited about that. So again, that's the whole kind of nuts and bolts of it. I don't want to spend too much time. Let's get into the presentation, but before I do that, I want to introduce Laura. Laura, you want to come up here for a second? Give her a round of applause to Laura. So, just to put a face to a name and to a software that you guys are using. Yeah, introduce yourself.
You're going to be working with AxoSoft. I work for that team and I manage all of the UAT accounts. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me, laura@axosoft.com. As Ben said, you're going to be learning about Scrum and Agile and taking all those fundamentals and using AxoSoft to apply that. So enjoy and make some kick-ass games.
Yeah, and get cracking too, right?
And get cracking, per my shirt. So if you're Git users, definitely check out the free Git GUI. And if you have questions, I'll be here.
Cool. Thanks, Laura. Appreciate it.
You.
We have some teams using GitKraken. Are they using any right now? You're using GitKraken? Okay, cool.
We love it. It's much better than using either SourceTree or TortoiseGit because it's got the prettiness and usability of SourceTree, but it actually shows you things like when you're pulling, it actually gives you progress bars and tells you what's happening, unlike SourceTree where it's just like, oh, here's a bar. It failed. No idea why.
Well, thanks for that feedback. That's awesome to know.
Yeah, there we go. So, so I've asked Laura to either come back next week or send somebody else to do a little bit more of a tutorial or at least answer some questions that you guys might have. I don't know how long you're able to stay today, but maybe there's some time afterwards if somebody's got some questions or something. Cool. And then I also want to introduce Joel. Joel, you want to come up from Influence Logic? Give him a round of applause. So I talked to Joel, and I'm trying to convince him to kind of be here more often because I really love the company that he started and what they're doing. So they're doing influencer marketing. You guys know what influencer marketing is? Anybody? Nobody? See, we got to.
Wow, it's crazy.
We got to teach.
No, it's great. Really great. So influencer marketing is really any time you see someone that you like on YouTube playing a video game. And if that inspires you to buy that video game, then that influencer marketing worked. So it's really word of mouth marketing with people who have really big voices and can reach lots of people. And we build software that is predictive and can identify the people and the content topics that are becoming most popular on YouTube. Brands like EA, Electronic Arts, have used our software in the past. We currently work with Bandai Namco, so real game marketing teams actually use our software to connect with video game players to have them promote new games and sell more of them. And what we're excited about is hearing from you guys what you're working on and hopefully helping promote some of these games and get them out into the hands of consumers.
Yeah, so when I was last December when I was in LA at the Digital Entertainment World Conference the big topics were VR and influencer marketing. Like those are the big things right now. So I mean, if anybody's ever been on YouTube or Twitch, right, or anything, and ever watched people streaming and then see that they make money and then you see a little few advertisements in there, they get paid to do that. It's becoming bigger and bigger. And their software is really awesome because it allows you to basically have an algorithm that will go through YouTube and Twitch and figure out through keywords who is streaming about certain games or topics or whatever, and then identify them at an early stage before they kind of blow up, and also kind of figure out how they've so far been doing with their videos and their audience and how many views they're getting, so that at an early stage you can go to them and say, let's do a deal, whether it's an affiliate deal or I'll just pay you up front right now or whatever. And if in the next 3 to 6 months, say, you start putting my brand out on your videos, you start putting my game out there or whatever, you lock in basically that price at that point before they get really big, right? So then all of a sudden, 6 months down the line, they went from 10,000 viewers to a million or more viewers. You've got that person still who's helping you and is an ally with you and pushing your brand. So some really cool stuff. So one of the cool things we decided that they're willing to offer is after the presentations today, Joel's going to choose a team here to actually give a free access to their software for the term. And so again, like I said, I'm trying to get Joel and his team down here more, and ideally on every Friday would be great, at least, and come and work with you guys one-on-one to try to make sure that your project is put in front of influencers and really gets pushed up there and does some awesome marketing. So,
Yep, sounds great.
So yeah, while you're pitching today, think of that. And if you can press Joel, then we can give that award. I'm gonna put it all on Joel because he's gonna be like, you have to choose one.
Yeah.
But yeah, so thank you, Joel. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
So a few things that go on here otherwise. Adam Moore, who I don't think is here today, runs the IGDA and also is very, very involved with GDC. So if you want to regularly stay in touch with the outside world of game development, Adam's a great resource. Brandon's running the art club. Brandon's not here either, is he? No. He's running the art club. Huh?
It's Wednesday night.
Wednesday
You
night?
can join them then.
At what time?
I believe it's at 5 o'clock. Anybody here a part of that group?
Last semester was at around 6:30 to 7.
Okay.
37.
So, I don't know if it's changed this semester, but hopefully we'll get
Wrong. It was still Wednesday though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So Wednesday night. And the other thing we do when we do the leads meetings, we'll also have discipline meetings of artists and designers and programmers and such. So, as artists, you guys can just kind of get together and make sure whoever wants to be there is there. We do have Facebook and Twitter for UAT Game Studios, so if you haven't already, start following that. Derek is super, too bad he's not here because he'd give you that whole Twitter spiel. He's big into that. We'll post on Facebook as needed. And again, if you have anything that you think we need to spread on any of these social medias, let us know. We'll also spread your achievements on there as we go along as well. Want to talk about UATGamestudios.com?
Yes, we are putting out a website, so anybody who would like to contribute to that, please see me after. It's really imperative that we get that up and running so that our recruiting as well as our marketing teams have something to point to, our successes over the years.
Basically, again, making sure that there's a record of everything that we do here so that you're part of something bigger than even just the couple terms that you'll be here in this class. mocap is available, so if anybody wants to do any of that for their games, talk to Lynn. And ad drop is by when?
Today,
Oh,
5
okay.
o'clock.
5 o'clock today.
Yeah.
So I guess you got to figure it out real fast. Drop this one. I'll just skip that. But if anybody knows or doesn't know, I am the founder of Game Collab, and so I do a lot of work here locally with events, game jams. Organize a lot of those. The next one will probably be in September for a Founders Jam again. Last Founders Jam, we filmed it, and we filmed the winners who went out to Indiecade, and that documentary should be coming out at the end of this month. So get ready for that. I won't show the trailer today, but and then end of this month is also Phoenix Comic Con. So annually I've been doing a Southwest Video Game Showcase, and so we'll have that again. So there's a Morpheus. Yeah, so Morpheus will be there. I don't know if anybody else will be there or not, but we'll be doing. I got about 25 exhibitors there, mostly game companies, some peripheral companies like server and marketing and hardware. And then we'll be doing a couple panels, an award showcase, and a mixer. So I'll look at you guys. I'll tell you more about that as we get closer, but it is in 2 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, we'll keep you up to date on everything else that happens locally. That's a big part of what we want to do, and also just what happens as far as hirings or companies or engines and just things like that. And if you, again, also if you have news, if you're big into any, following that kind of stuff online, let us know.
Very good. Are you ready for pitches?
I'm ready.
Let's do this. Now, just a last word, don't shut anybody down. If you're questioning what you should shut down, just don't shut anything down. So let's go ahead and begin. Tyler, are you ready? Yeah, come on up, Austin.
Where are we at?
Let me see.
Yeah, find it.
We are here, and then 5.
All right, welcome guys. My name is Austin Harrington. I've been working on a game called Call Center Simulator 2017, the previous version of this game, for a semester now. I'm really proud of it. So I'd like to start by showing you a trailer of what our prototype was, and then we'll get into what this game is going to be and what we need.
Your call is important to us. Please stay on the line for the next available representative.
All right, I'm going to turn this down a little bit. So, Call Center Simulator 2018 is a deceptive title. This is actually a multiplayer shooter, team deathmatch. We wanted to do it in full VR. This is on the HTC Vive we're developing in Unity. For our prototype, we wanted to get our rough gameplay figured out. We got our gun mechanics going. As you can see, we can load a gun, we can cock a gun, we can fire a gun. We have scoring functionality, a little bit of an idea of what we want the game to look like. We have 3D sound, we've got a bunch of features, but we don't have our gameplay and we don't have our movement system, we don't have multiplayer. That's what we're working on over the next 2 semesters. I think you guys get an idea, let's move on. If I can do it. Okay, in terms of features, again, this is a VR game on Unity for the HTC Vive. We haven't done this in studio before. I'm really excited about bringing VR into production studio and getting a game released through UAT Game Studios. In that field. We don't have a lot of great multiplayer VR games right now. It'll be really cool releasing one of the first great VR shooters. So we are really excited about that. In terms of SIP, I am using this as my SIP. Our movement system is going to be different from anything else anyone's done. This is the biggest problem in virtual reality right now. When you have room scale VR, there is not a good way to move around an environment without getting sick. And so we're using a combination teleport movement system set on a grid. I can go into a little bit more if you want to come meet us at our booth. I can kind of go over that, but from what I can tell, it's SIP applicable. We are actually innovating VR. And so we're really excited about that. I'd love to bring more people on for SIP. Right now, we have our basic prototype. You've seen what our functionality is. It's good. It's a base level for what we're doing. So over the next 2 semesters, over this semester, we're getting multiplayer and movement into the game. Those are our 2 biggest priorities, and we're going to do it. We want to be able to test by the end of the semester. We want to make sure everything runs so that we can really work on focusing on content and asset creation over the fall semester. Once we've kind of got into the fall semester, we're looking at building a tutorial, getting some more weapons in there that you can upgrade in between matches, and really building out interactivity within the environment. So, in terms of what we need 3D artists, really, really bad. If you can do character modeling, we want you. We really want you. Beyond that, we have to create guns, we have to create staplers, we have to create desks. These are the kind of things that we're doing. It is an office game. In terms of programming, we're working in Unity. We need C# programmers. If you know C#, if you feel comfortable, if you've never worked in VR and you want to get that into your portfolio, awesome. Awesome. We've got a good team that we're building up right now, but we need more people. So we would really like to have anyone on the project. If you don't come into the project, if you're on Morpheus or Red Rhino, one of these other projects, come talk to me if you want a VR game in your portfolio. We can work with you outside of class. Any help would be great. You can follow our progress, obviously, on social media. We have all of our accounts kind of set up. Look up Call Center Simulator. You'll find us everywhere. And most importantly, we release in January 2018. We have a hard deadline. We are going to release this game. If you want a released game in your portfolio that is VR, that is something nobody's doing right now, come onto our team. We'll get there. I'd like to thank you guys for listening to our pitch. We're going to be down at a table right over here. We also have a demo set up in the small commons. If you are interested in seeing what we're doing before you make a decision, we have our prototype ready. We can take 5 minutes. We can show you what we're doing. Thank you so much for watching, and we hope to see you at the job fair.
Hello everybody, my name is Alex Watson and I am the team lead for the guys that have been working on Operation Red Rhino over the last few months. Operation Red Rhino is a multiplayer competitive first-person shooter that aims to put map progression in the hands of the players, and I'll talk about that in the level design section. So we're going to be focused on fun realism. We're going to be looking at a couple different features that are kind of taken for granted in other first-person shooters and kind of make them fun instead of just being realistic for realistic's sake. We're going to be focusing on player choice through our level progression system. Team play, it's a team-based game. Round-based game modes, each node on the map, and I'll talk about that later, is going to play out in a single round, single life game mode. Each node will also have a unique objective for that node. And I keep saying nodes, but maps will be built with the node system, which we'll talk about right now. So each map is actually going to be constructed through a couple of different smaller maps, and each one of those is going to house a unique objective and a unique round for the players to play. Each round, the winning team will then get to decide where on the map they want to attack next. The ultimate goal is to get into your team base. Each node that your team holds will carry a buff for your team that you'll have until you lose that node. So this is an example paper map that we have, and that just fits right into our start node there. So that actually is our start node that I'll show later on in the video. Here's 2 other paper maps that we have, and they'll just they would just slide right into those sections on the map, and that's kind of what we're looking at. These size maps, and then each round will be played in those. So feasibility for it, we already have a built-in multiplayer suite. So we got multiplayer up and running right now. We can go out in the commons and play that. For our designers, we can do blueprint coding since we're using Unreal. So we can prototype in that, and then after we get it working and we get our parameters in there that we need, we'll pass that off onto our programming team. It's a C++ groundwork, so we need programmers that know C++ or are interested in learning C++. Again, since a lot of it is coded out and we're just building off of that, you'll have a lot of commented code to be working off of. And then it's SIP applicable. We already got approved. So if you're looking for a SIP, come on board and we'll work that out with Mark. And then here is our prototype video for what we got so far. So this would be the first round in the first starting node. This is our basic rifleman class, so he's just going to be using a standard assault rifle. We also have a submachine gun and a sniper built. Right now, we're not going to do player models or just placeholder. We're hoping to bring on at least a couple weapons artists and maybe a player character artist, as well as environment art. We can really take on whoever we need. So since we won the round, we're going to be able to vote on which node we want next. This is our node vote screen. So you see on the side there, it'll tell you what the buff is. It'll give you intel on the map, and it'll tell you what your objective is going to be. So that'll load up. This being a different node, it has a different objective. So now I actually need to get into this village and hold down the zone. And the opponent just needs to defend that. So now that he won the round, we're going to go back. He's going to choose where we go. Right now we only have 2 nodes, so he doesn't have much of a choice. But so now that I'm defending this node, even though it's the same node, we'll have a different objective that'll switch based on who's attacking or who is defending that node. So right now I just need to defend this zone from him. I can see that he's in the node now, or in the zone now. All right, and then from there, we would just continue with that until one of us successfully assaulted the other team's base. So what we're hoping to get done in this semester, we want unique objectives laid out for each of the nodes. We want to get the team vote system totally up and running. So with the nodes that our level construction team is building out, we want to be able to switch between those on the fly and have win conditions. So when the other team is dead, it automatically kicks to that. You choose that. You choose where you're going, and it spawns correctly in there. And then the whole round transitions between with like class selection and stuff like that on that screen as well. For our level construction team, we're going to get 9 nodes, a little past the blockout stage. They're not going to be fully art done, but we want to get them past just kind of the gray box textures. We want to get the story and balance for the full map. So we want a full 9 node playable map with base nodes and everything balanced out and ready to go. And then we need to work on the level streaming and loading for those so that we can get all 9 of those nodes in there, but not bogging down everybody's system all at once. For the player and equipment team, we're looking at 5 classes for this semester with a weapon for each of those classes. We want to work out the health, reload, stamina, and encumbrance systems that we plan on having in, and then 1 character model that we can just texture swap out to show the 2 different teams on the map. And for that, we really need a programmer that wants to work on that node vote system. So that is our big ask, and a UI artist to go along with them. I can take as many level designers as I need. So if you're a beginner level designer in Unreal, come on board. Like we can work something out. Especially if you're in some of the classes that need to be making some production studios stuff for that. And then any sort of 3D artist. If you want to work on equipment, weapons, characters, environment, anything, we have plenty of stuff for artists to do. And then any questions? thank you all for listening to me.
So hi, my name is Bart Driscoll. I'm the project lead of Rain and Rebellion. So, what Rain and Rebellion started as is an idea from two industry veterans coming into the school wanting to share their idea with us and try and make it a reality. They came to us with just a GDD and they just desired a prototype from us, and so us being who we are at UAT, we wanted to make this more, we wanted to make it a reality, we wanted to make it fun, we wanted to make it look beautiful, and add our own little touches to it. So the game concept is a online third-person action with both melee and ranged combat, and it'll be team-based with 2 teams so far. With 3 different classes on each, and each class has their own set of abilities and weapons. And the game will also encompass different maps that have different game modes tailored to the map. And so the art style that we're going with for this game is more of a realistic steampunk for some of the maps and a fantasy medieval style for other types of maps. This style is also used for the different teams and their weaponry. The build will be showing out in the commons for playtesting later. So some of the challenges that we faced last semester as our first semester running this is obviously just working with Scrum, figuring out how this game will be done through Scrum, learning the new roles of our teammates, learning their new roles and how we'll work together to complete different features and tasks for this game. Of course, like every game, we have game-breaking bugs that almost threw us off multiple times, and also implementing those new features that we were thinking up as we just started on this game. So, going into this semester and semester after, hopefully, we want to get multiple maps done with those different game modes tied into them. We want our own character models for our classes. We want to expand more on kind of the story of the world, why these 2 teams are fighting, why they're fighting in these areas, is also going back and refining on the work we did just this last semester. So what do we need to make this a reality? We need character artists, we need concept artists, both on ground and online. We need UI artists and designers to help start figuring out a good UI for this game. Gameplay designers to help us flesh out more of those game modes for the maps, and a database programmer to help us with our multiplayer. Thank you.
So, real quick,
Sorry about that.
I'm one of the industry vets. My name's Doug. I don't know, I've met a couple of you guys here. This game is inspired from an old game that was trying to save a company that was going under. And that game had a vibe to it that was really bizarre for a first-person shooter. I'm not really a shooter guy at all, but that game was able to make you like laugh and get hysterical and get goofy and talk to each other online while you were just wasting away at each other. So what had happened was that company, as it was imploding internally, we made this game, Stargate Resistance, and for some reason, after we bankrupted the company, not me, I didn't do that. After we went through the bankruptcy and all that, the game was still selling on Steam. It was crazy. Like, there was no marketing, there was no reason to believe that we were going to go any further than what we could do. But those guys loved the game, so that's what drew me and Daryl to come here and be like, hey, you know what? There's something there. So what we were able to do the other night is I somehow miraculously found this version of Stargate Resistance and was able to show these guys what it was that we were trying to grasp. One thing I'll tell you about these guys is that we asked for a prototype, which was expected to be a bunch of white boxes with an X and Y bot running around. They delivered in a spectacular manner. Ben brought up something earlier about communication. I've never seen a group of guys communicate like that. They're all in. So if you guys want to be part of that, I absolutely recommend, not just because I'm working on it, but I recommend becoming part of that, because there's something unique about those guys over there that will teach you things that you're not going to learn in a textbook. The other thing is I worked at EA for 11 years. I've got all kinds of stories if you guys want to hear them about what the game industry was like then. I'm an agile and scrum guy, like through and through. I eat and sleep it. So if you guys have any questions on any team, I'd be more than happy to talk to you guys. So hopefully you'll give us a shot. We're going to be art heavy, so if you like to draw, that's fantastic. So thank you guys for having us here.
Hey, I am team lead for Morpheus. We're going to start off with a presentation on an edge. So Morpheus started off as a Ludum Dare game jam game. If you don't know what that is a 48-hour event that is online. It runs about twice a year. At the time, I dubbed it Shapeshifter's Quest, which was a terrible name. And then over time, I developed it into this awesome idea along with my team, like John over there, Todd, and there's tons of people on here who are on our team. So in this game, there's an emphasis on shape-shifting, so you can turn into different creatures, and they have different abilities which allow you to progress the world in different manners. There's also an emphasis on puzzle solving, so with these forms you can go in and solve these puzzles with, for example, we have a cockatrice who can turn things to stone, and this can be used to weigh objects down or to stop spinning things like fans. We have a whole slew of characters that we can show off in our build. Also, we are focusing on repairing the world and also decimating it. So as you're exploring this world, you'll come across story bits, which are memories, and you'll also kind of piece those together, as well as stuff in the environment. So you can see right there we have that bridge just coming apart and coming together. Like I said, this game is a shape-shifting game, so we have different forms. You can see down here we have Candlemouse. He has the ability to emit light and to take it away. He can also fit through small crevices, so we'll have, mouse passageways and stuff like that. Over there on the other side, we have Magball. He is the magnetic form. He can pick up objects, metal objects, and pull and push them. And we can use this for insertion puzzles and the sort. So yeah. This is kind of the style we're going for. Over here, you can see this is our sword model that we have. A lot of little runes in there and that kind of style that we're going for. It's really pretty and emissive. The picture in the center is from, I believe, I can't remember the game right now. Ori and the Blind Forest. It has the colors and the contrast that we're kind of looking for there. And then over there is our hero. He's the spirit. And he's holding the broken sword, which also repairs as you're progressing. Who we need, so I'm looking for around 2 to 3 designers. I'm always willing to take more though. What we're going to be doing this semester is working on developing some elaborate puzzles, as well as putting those into levels. So we want to make sure that the levels and the puzzles tie together very well. So paper mapping skills, white boxing, and if we're using Unity and if you're not comfortable with that, we will teach you. So we'll take any skill level. Don't worry if you don't feel like you're good, we'll teach you. And that kind of ties into the whole world building aspect. We want everything to come together and make sense. For artists, I'm looking for 3 to 4 artists. A lot of environmental stuff, so we're looking for old ruined structures, things that we can decimate and put back together. And as well, we're going to start working on doing some texturing stuff. Last semester we did a lot of flat colors. This semester we want to go for more of that style over there with the sword. For programmers, I'm looking for 1 to 2. This is going to be a valuable learning experience for you because we don't use game managers, and there's a very important reason for that. Game managers kind of make everything coupled, and it's hard to rip things out. In our game, we like to hook things up with the inspector, so we'll have like a pressure plate hooks up to the door, which you can also take that same pressure plate script and attach it to anything else that can be activated. And so that is the event-driven aspect of our project. So very valuable learning experience, and we'll show you all of that. And we heavily comment our code. So, and we can offer you several things. We just got our LLC straightened out. So Harlan and I, we are in charge of that company. We're Infinitive Game Studios, and we have 2 interns this semester. So if you need an internship, we can work something out with you. We have tons of people who've worked on this project and came out with tons of awesome portfolio pieces. So if you need a portfolio piece, you'll definitely get one with us. And you'll be working with alumni and industry leaders. We have Harlan, who was an artist at this school. He has graduated, and he's fantastic. He can show you tons of things. We have Jonathan Weiner over there. He is just graduated last semester, and he is a fantastic designer. We have Sadia. She works at Volition. So that's awesome. That's really awesome. And then we have Adam, who was mentioned earlier. He does the GDC stuff, and he's also helping us with our marketing, our Facebook, our Twitter, and we are going towards getting the game crowdfunded this August. So we're working towards that demo. And we were going to show off the build, but we're going to do that out there. So if you want to play our game and see what it's all about, please come check it out. And as a little sneak peek of what we've just been working on, we got 3D grass that can be physically manipulated by the hero. So that's really awesome. Thank you. And you can follow us on Twitter.
Sadia now works at High Res.
Oh, High Res? She hasn't told me about it.
Yeah, she said she just got it.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, just got it.
She did work at Volition.
Yeah. So if anybody likes Smite or Paladin.
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Donald Shepis. I am the team lead for Calculord. So Calculord is a client project. I met with an individual named Mark Ragno who had an idea for taking MMO-style game mechanics and progression loops and merging it with teaching students math. And so the biggest portion of that we're applying from MMOs and other RPG-type games into Calculord is the visualization of progress. So learning math in school is a very abstract, generic concept. It's kind of hard to tell that, oh, I have progressed 25% of the way through what I need to learn in math for this year. And so we wanted to give the students some feedback, something that they're earning and getting that's not quite tactile because it's an electronic game, but something that they can see every day as a measure of their progress. And so we do that by allowing them to purchase and customize armors for their main character. So every time they go into the application and do anything, do a practice quiz, test out of a subject, do a mini game, they're earning points that allow them to buy items to customize their own character, so that they feel a sense of investment and that they also want to do the work, so that way they can unlock newer and cooler things for their character. It was also very important for us to be able to help guide practice and allow students to set their own pace. If a student's excelling in addition, then we want them to be able to go through, do a lot of the work really quickly, and move on. That way they'll have more time to work on things that they're having trouble with, like subtraction, division, things like that, without having to get bogged down and staying behind. And if students are really excelling and going well ahead of their class, they're going to be able to complete their portion of the curriculum and start working on things that are extra, be able to advance at their own pace instead of being held back by their peers or just the time they have in class. Also, a lot of educational games don't really focus on the fact that students aren't individual in their learning. They're in a classroom setting. They've got peers, both at the classroom level, at the school level, even within the state level. And so we want to have a lot of different interactions for them to have when they're working in a group. So having things like raids and dailies that as multiple students complete them, they're unlocking things not just for themselves, but also for their entire class at large. It's also very important that the instructors are part of this process at every step. So we're building out a teacher console that allows the instructors to see everything the student is working on, see what they're struggling in, see what they're advancing at very well in, and allow them to give feedback to the student to modify what work they need to get done to customize their learning experience and give them as many tools as they can to understand how the child is progressing and how they can best support them. And that's the ultimate vision of Calculord. We want to supplement teachers with a tool that allows them to make everything easier when it comes to their job. We want to be able to take all the information that we're getting from the students and turn it into a format that they can use to give to a reporting agency for state and federal standardization. We want them to be able to have an easy way to personalize each lesson plan for all of their students. So they're able to go in and modify what things a student has to do to complete, say, addition. And they can take out things when students are doing well in addition, add to subtraction when they need additional support. We also want to replace homework. Homework in and of itself is something that can be very often a difficult thing for teachers to get students to do. It's not fun, it's not engaging, they don't really want to do it. And so if we give it this veneer of being something that they want to do, something that they're doing because they want to progress, they want to get new items, then they're more likely to actually do it. And that way they're learning outside of the classroom because they don't have enough hours in the class to begin with. And we also want to engage them at home. We want them to be doing math, we want them to be learning as much as possible. Just learning during the class time that they have in school isn't enough. And so this is the final build we had from last semester. We've been working on this for about 6 months. We had to pivot at the end of our first semester here with the Greenlight program. We re-updated the art style. We're essentially building everything to be a little bit more mature. We want kids to not think that we're looking down at them or patronizing them. So we've got character customization in. We've got all of the steps we need to validate whatever items they have, to validate their account, answering questions correctly, and things like that. We also had the core of our practice quiz mechanics in. So their armor actually does something. You're able to absorb damage and not take as fail your quiz as quickly. You're able to answer less questions and get the quizzes done faster. And that's kind of the core of Calculord. And also going through and having our entire database set up so you're able to equip items, you're able to buy items. We've got the core of what we need. So what we need to do going forward is we need to focus on adding in our teacher console as well as just making everything look nicer and run smoother. So we're looking to create the secondary platform that a teacher logs into that allows them to track the progress of their class, to assign homework, as well as to view the overall progress of individual students in the class as a whole. We also want to add in our avatar chat, which is going to mean we need a lot of animation work. So we've got a pre-generated list of things the students will be able to do to interact with one another. We also want to add more to our avatar customization screen. We want to add a female base. We want to take the base we currently have and make it much prettier. We want more items, we want more customization, more of everything. And we're also revitalizing our 2D art so that way it is a better, more streamlined GUI system as well as just looking prettier. So to do that, we're going to need a team of a mixed skill set. For artists, we ideally want character artists to be able to work on the bases and the customizations for each character. We want texture artists who are going to be able to assist our modelers in, sorry, I'm getting a bit of dry mouth. We want to assist our modelers in creating textures and creating the 2D art that we need, as well as animators to create the emotes that our avatars are going to be using. We need designers to help us work on our systems for the stats for the armor as well as the currency system. And then for programmers, we need people who are familiar with network programming. Everything we're doing is taking from Unity, pulling information from PlayFab, and then presenting it to the student. And so a lot of what we're working on is the networking aspect of the application. The benefits of joining Calculord, you are going to be led by an experienced team of alumni leads. We've all graduated from UAT. We've got various games out on the market, primarily in the mobile arena. And we've been working together for the past 2 years, and the past 10 months specifically on Calculord. So we have a very good dynamic when it comes to figuring out how to spread the load of the work across the entire team so no one gets overloaded. This is a long-term project, so if you're looking to get into something that's going to be probably in development throughout your career at UAT, this is an opportunity to do that. It's also experience working on a client project. You're not making something for yourself, you're making something for somebody else, which is a unique experience and is ultimately very valuable. We also are offering internships through our LLC. So you'll be able to either fill your requirements for UAT or just get some additional experience on the side. And while no one's used Calculord for their SIP yet, we believe it has a high viability. We've all been through the various iterations of the SIP program at one time or another. So we think if you apply it to SIP, you'll probably be accepted. You can visit us at calculord.com. I can't talk numbers quite yet, but we've just seen a big windfall of funding, so we're able to bring on more people and do a little more and be a little more public with what we're working on. And so I hope to see you on the team and throughout the rest of the production class so that we can continue to allow students to battle monsters to master math. Thank you.
All right, another round of applause. These are amazing projects that you have to choose from. All the greenlit projects. All right, we also like to support our rogue developers, and those are developers that were not greenlit. We have one contingent on greenlit though, the World of Marks. So we're going to start with him, and then we'll open the floor for any projects that you did not confirm yet. So World of Marks.
Hello, my name is Kai. I'm lead for World of Marts, if you don't know. I've been working with Matt, Trey, and Brenda on this project. I also have been recognized for my studio as well. We've got an LLC, it's called Legendary Game Studio, if anybody's interested in that. Now for the game, my game is a fighting game. It's cross-genre between deception, cunning, strategy, and power. Also with interactive environments, so it's not like your typical hack and slash and like button mash. You actually have to think while you're fighting your other opponents, as well as dealing with the environment trying to kill you at the same time. So the goals for our game is to be, of course we all know Mario Party, Mario Kart, things of that nature. Smash Bros, where you just, the friendship killer games, where it's just intense combat almost 24/7. It's always something that happens to you, something goes bad, pisses you off. This project has also been SIP approved. It's also, we're going for local multiplayer as well as online multiplayer to make so our arenas are, some of our levels are quite big. We're going for at least like 8 players, maybe more, if we can get enough people and characters involved in it. So there's, the basis of the game is intense combat, just fast-paced action going on. So games like Devil May Cry, God of War, Dante's Inferno, where the combat system is based on how many combos you can do, that's how we're doing our game. Our art style is semi-realistic, kind of like Mortal Kombat, where the characters they look good and they look semi-realistic, but they have all these abnormal abilities and powers and things of that nature. The setting of our game is in a world where it's futuristic feudal. If you ever heard of or seen Afro Samurai, it's a lot like that. These are some of our concepts done that we're going to try to get this character actually modeled this semester, as well as her weapons over there. And this is one of our finalized characters, Gideon, who we actually have in the game. We have his animations, some of his abilities and powers and everything. And here is a video. Now, for our combat system, like I said, it's Devil May Cry and God of War style, so you can combine different buttons together to create different combats or different combos. So you never have one straight combo to do. It's all just whatever you decide, whichever works best. You have the stamina system working, as you can see here, so whatever just combo that you do, your stamina will keep on going down, so it stops you from just doing the same thing over and over again. We also have abilities, like for him, this is his meteor attack. It also has his key going down, so in his shield, you can't really see it, but he has like a barrier shield to stop you from attacking. And then you can recharge your key when it's, but it takes time. You have to stick to it. That way you can't just do everything. We also have weapons incorporated that also do their own types of different combos, so you have that incorporated as well. So you can equip and re-equip weapons at will and do your different combos. Here's some of our combat. I put the boss's health down, so it's like a one-hit kill, and you can see how he took all of our health down. We don't have any death animations yet, but that is another thing that we are working on fleshing out. As for this semester, what we want to do is, like I said, complete our last 2 characters and get those animations flushed out and finish our last level as well, which is, we already have Matt working on that as well. And our SIP approved integration with our enemy mobs that work with the environment. So at a certain point of time during our day to night cycle, an enemy mob will appear where you either have to, you can throw your opponent in there, you can attack the mob yourself and get the power buff, or you can just hide in the sidelines, wait till everybody's dead, and go in for the last kill. It's literally the game. You just have to think. You can't just do things and you win. Our future, we want to have a playable demo that our studio can actually pitch to a company, which we are close to doing right now. We have Twitter accounts, Facebook accounts. Like I said, I have my studio. It's also SIP approved. What we are looking for really is at least one programmer so we can get the mob fleshed out, and we really need animators and any other artists that we can get. Yeah, so find me on Twitter, Facebook. If you're interested in internship or SIP projects, I'll be here. Out there. Thank you.
All right, so if you are a subcontractor coming from another class, you need to fulfill your requirements for that class. Kyrie's project sure needs your help. If you are a 281, 381, 481 enrollee, though, you need to stick with the green light projects for this class. Sorry, Kyrie. He is a contingent, so hopefully he'll be coming on soon. We'll see how that goes. And a couple other reminders here. You stick with your teams today. 281, this is an all-day thing. You've got a lot to accomplish. Again, leads, I need this form filled out completely, making sure that you have connections with everybody. At 1 o'clock, leads, we're going to be meeting upstairs. What's the number on that? 206. We'll do 206.
Whatever.
And you will recruit your online team members and get those guys connected as well.
One thing we don't have on that sheet is the source control. I was just thinking about that again. So leads, think about that. If you already have source control that you are using or want to use, again, we can talk more about that in the leads meeting. One thing, okay, so listen up, 281, 381, and I think you're doing it for 281, right? So 381, 481, the 5 p.m. thing?
Yes, 5 p.m.
Okay, so we decided to change a little something, for better or for worse. We're going to try it. So all assignments, in case you haven't noticed yet in the Canvas, all assignments are due on Friday at 5 p.m.
So that completes your dev cycle. Yeah.
Right? So that means you have to complete your assignments before we leave this class every Friday. And that, I think, will allow, basically, we'll all be here, we'll help remind each other. You can have Canvas open while you're here, and you can complete it, and then over the weekend, whatever you do over the weekend will go into the next week, basically. Okay?
So you don't lose any time.
Does that include your discussions?
Yeah, everything.
At 5?
5, yeah. So I know this week's a bit because this is the first time we got to meet. So we're not as strict about hours and stuff today. And as far as discussion, try to get it done. If you can't, I'll let you do it for next week. Because I know, again, we didn't get to meet before today. But after that, it will be 5 p.m. every Friday. And I think that'll just help everybody, because then you're done and you don't have to worry about it over the weekend. You can just work on working and not sit there and go, midnight, go, oh crap, I gotta go onto Canvas and start putting my work in. And it's kind of normal anyways, so in a typical workplace, you kind of clock out at the end of the day and then you're done.
So Friday is your collaborative day. Friday is when you check in your assignments for the week, when you get your new tasks, when you have the ability to mentor your team members, so it just makes sense that you conclude everything on Friday. Leads will talk a little bit more about that in the leads meeting and see how that's going to impact your team, if at all.
Yeah.
So.
I was also going to take away no late work allowed, but I'm not going to do that since I'm already kind of putting this new shift on you guys, so I'll still let you have like a week late work. So remember, the policy is for both of us, you have a week. For me in particular, for 381 and 481, anything within that week after the due date, I'll just take off, bless you, I'll just take off 10%, and if after that, you just get zeros. So again, make sure you get your work in. I know that's like the hardest thing to do in this class for some reason, because you're all working on the games and just building and getting your stuff in there, but you do need to report. It's a typical thing. Anybody who's worked on an actual project with a client or working on milestones, you understand that you need to deliver in order to get paid, in order to understand to make sure the client knows where you're at, and so on. So that's a big part of all of this. We'll talk more in the coming weeks, but it's also a part about your value in creating that and understanding where you stand, and understanding the tasks that you take on and that you create for yourself, and knowing what you're able to do and then being able to check that every week and say, I said I would be able to do this, so were you able to do that within that week? Yes or no? What came in your way, or did you have extra time? And so next time you predict how many hours you can work or what assets you can get created, you'll have a better idea of that. So the idea is we do that, 15 times here with the 15 weeks, and you'll be better at that. You do that 30 times, you do that 45 times, you'll be even better at all that. So
It's absolutely a critical skill if you're going into business for yourselves or you're working on a team. You've got to know how much time approximately your projects are going to take you to complete.
Right.
So,
okay, cool.
should we go to 5 today? Give them extra time.
What?
5 o'clock. Meet back in here.
Sure. Yeah. So after you guys finish wrapping up your canvas, putting your sprint logs and everything in, then we'll all come back in here just after 5 and wrap up today for class. So Joel, you want to come down? Or
Oh, let's do that.
get out your tomatoes, rotten tomatoes if you don't like it. It's verdict.
No, I thought everyone did an awesome job. I mean, I think, with our software, we're really going to try to help someone who's going to try to launch. And it sounds like Morpheus, sounds like you guys are really close and on your way to doing something special. So we'd be happy to give you guys access to the software and help you out in your way. So here's my card, and contact me. For sure.
Cool. Thanks, man. Get Saudi on that. Cool. Anybody have any other more questions, concerns, thoughts? Something not clear? Yeah?
Unfortunately, work kind of wants me to be there by 5, so if I leave half an hour early?
We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any other questions, concerns? Yeah?
Sign up for one, right?
Sign up for?
One project.
Yes. Yes, please. Sign up for one project. I don't know. Sometimes people can be confused and sign up for multiple projects. Choose the one that you really want. Sign up for that. Then, just so you know, the process is open. Then after that, today at 1 o'clock, we're going to meet with the leads. They'll have their sheets, everybody who asked to be on their teams, and we'll make sure that it's balanced out, like I said, between artists, designers, and programmers, and then go from there. So most likely, you will get your choice. If something happens, we might need to shuffle some people around. That does happen too. So we'll try to be as fair as we can, and we'll try to be give everybody their first choice. But just so you know, it is a process of us kind of juggling all of you and all of the online students. How many online students do we have?
We have almost 20.
Okay, so yeah,
A large
that's
group.
a lot of students this term. Anyways, cool. So go meet with, go find out who the teams are, sign up, figure out what you want, and leads will meet upstairs again at 1.